over on the other channel was WWE Raw, which I then watched after Impact. So in total, including ad breaks, I watched 5 hours 20 minutes of wrestling tonight. That's just too much, isn't it? It's just overload. So the first man out, of course, is Bret the Hitman Hart to a monstrous ovation, and he's got a sort of a remix of his theme music. He talks about being back. He talks about memories, including winning the King of the Ring in that very arena. Calls out Shawn Michaels to a deafening pop. He says he wants to bury the hatchet. Shawn says that Bret deserves what happened 12 years ago. That says there's a part of him that doesn't regret it at all. But when he thinks of Bret, he doesn't think of Montreal. He thinks of WrestleMania 12 in the Iron Man match. Shawn Michaels says he wants to bury the hatchet. Bret offers his hand. They shake hands, and then you're right, here it comes, because they move apart, right? They move apart to the exact distance that Shawn Michaels needs to hit a perfect switch in music. They're like, right, come on, here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is! And they hug. And you're like, oh, what was that? It's like, oh, no, right. You see, you think to yourself, something else is going to happen here. There's more here. There is more than this. Anyway, Hart then calls out Vince. Vince doesn't come out. Yay. Anyway, after some adverts, we come back and Vince is coming out to a meeting and tells Josh that he will call Bret out later on. Then it's announced that Melina has a torn ACL and has had to vacate the Divas title, so we're having a tournament tonight to crown a new one, or starting a tournament tonight. Why don't they just retire the Divas title? I'm sure I'd care about it about as much as I did about the tournament to crown a new Divas champion. Maurice defeated Brie Bella in a horrible match. Then MVP defeated Jack Swagger, Carlito and Mark Henry to become the #1 contender to the US title. Not a bad match. Playmaker getting... it was what, a 1-star match. It wasn't great in the slightest. MVP hitting the Playmaker to get the win. Jericho in the back. Chris says that he has a proposal for Bret Hart. He then goes to Bret Hart and he downplays the opening segment, with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. He asked Bret to be the guest referee in his match tonight. Bret says that he says so he could screw HBK out of the tag team titles. Bret says he wants to put Montreal behind him. He's not going to be a hypocrite. We then see in the back Hornswoggle playing with WWE toys. Triple H says that he can play with them if DX win tonight. Then Santino comes in, dresses Jericho. He does a pretty funny impression of Jericho, I've got to say, but then Hornswoggle gives him beats, and it's just terrible, and you want to kill yourself, and you can't actually believe you're watching it. This or the strip poker? Strip poker because I've seen Velvet Sky, not very much, but they're about as entertaining as each other, Then, in what was WWE's match of the night was DX defeating Jericho to retain the tag team titles. First thought was, wasn't this the main event of WWE's last pay-per-view? And once again, it's available on free TV, and you're like, it shouldn't be happening, but Anyway, it was a good match. It was back and forth, everyone hitting the finishing moves. And Sweet Chin Music got the win for Shawn Michaels. Next, we got to see Randy Orton and Vince McMahon promo. This is weird because Vince McMahon's been acting very heelish recently. Orton, of course, is a heel. But in this promo, Vince was acting the first part of it like, you remember basically Orton doing all the stuff to his family this time last year, the punting them all, And, he was acting a tiny little bit face. But basically, Orton said, if you give me the number 30 in the Royal Rumble, I'll go up there and I'll punt Bret Hart for you. Very nice. It's announced that Mike Tyson is the guest host next week. And then they show a replay of Cena versus Sheamus from last week. Sheamus, speaking of which, then comes out and he says he wants a new challenger at the Royal Rumble. I can't understand half the words he's saying, incidentally. This isn't a diss to anyone who's Irish, but I was really having to pay attention to what he was saying. So I was like, I don't know what you're on about. Basically he says that he'll be defending the title at Royal Rumble, but it won't be against Cena. He wants a new challenger. Out comes that big guy, Evan Bourne, who promptly gets absolutely owned. No, don't get me wrong, he does hit airborne, the shooting star press, but that's about it. Razor's Edge gets the win. Randy Orton defeating Kofi Kingston, not a bad little match. This was going against the AJ Styles vs Kurt Angle match in exactly the same time frame, so it didn't have a hope. And of course, the other thing about this one is that Randy Orton was always going to win this one, so he didn't have any reason to care about it, which is really irritating because Kofi is a great guy, and the fans believed in him, and the fans were behind him. But now, it's one of those pushes Kofi had, you don't really get a second chance at it. Excuse me. And then, yeah, so I'm just like baffled by it. Also, of course, Legacy sat outside the ring for this one. When Orton won, they didn't look very happy at all. It's like they wanted Orton to lose. Their face turn's coming imminently. You know, in the overrun, because it went 20 minutes over at least. Vince comes out and says that there's no reason to call Bret out because of what's happened at the start of the show. Bret comes out to no music, takes off his leather jacket, looks like he's going to start beating on Vince. But they start to do some reminiscing, you know, they've got smiles on their face, they're happily chatting. And eventually, Vince says that he wants to induct Stu Hart into the Hall of Fame. They shake hands, they pose, you know, around the four sides of the ring, and like, come on, do something. You're begging in your mind, or you're sat on the edge of your chair going, come on, Bret, do it. Fucking batter him. But no, it's Vince McMahon who boots him in the logs. And that is what closes the show. So, what can we say? This is what we can say. We can say that Raw wasn't very good. The DX Jericho match, and was good. Orton versus Kofi, for what it was an alright match. The rest of it was garbage. The opening segment I enjoyed until they hugged. I so wanted Shawn Michaels to hit switching music on Bret. Everyone knows I was more of a Shawn Michaels fan than Bret, but just think of heel Michaels. Think about what that means. You know, that's what I really wanted. I did thoroughly enjoy the last segment, though. I really, really did. Which one was the better? It's a tough one, because at the end of the day, I think they were about as bad as each other. But there was just a tiny little bit more better on Impact. On the night, my vote goes to Impact. It'll be very, very interesting to see what the ratings are, because you can just imagine that people, when Jeff Hardy came out, for example, you can just imagine teenage girls across America ringing, texting the mates saying, Jeff Hardy's just been on Impact, and loads of teenage girls turn over to it. But I reckon as soon as 9 o'clock started, I reckon as soon as the clock struck 9, I reckon so many people will have turned over onto Raw just to see Bret. Don't underestimate just how popular Bret Hart really is. I'm Marc P. Love to know your opinion down here. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Take it easy.